There are hundreds of different city building strategy games developed by mobile gaming companies. While some of them generate billions, yes, not millions, but billions of dollars, most of them do fail and the game eventually dies. And rightfully so, people thought that the same would happen to Call of Dragons. However, that wasn't the case. Let's go.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Call of Dragons was globally launched in March 28, 2023. And of course, that week the interest peaked to 100 in Google Trends. What you would expect in that scenario is a massive trend going down. But if we check the last 90 days chart for Call of Dragons, it looks extremely healthy. So the question is, how Call of Dragons is holding strong while many similar games ends up dead in a short period of time? Before we get into graphics and the mechanics of the game, we first need to talk about the makers of the game, which is pretty much the same company that made Rise of Kingdoms. The reason why it is important is because these people made one of the most popular city building strategy war game on mobile. And they have a massive player base, so they have a lot of data and feedback. So they simply use that data and the years of experience with the similar games to make another amazing city building mobile game. That is one of the main reasons why Call of Dragons is still very popular. But if I say that is the only reason, I would be unfair to graphics and the mechanics of the game. When I first started playing Rise of Kingdoms back in 2020, I believe, I was like, what the hell, these archers are not firing from a range, I think I'm doing something wrong. I felt ridiculous when I found out that even with archers, I had to fight in a melee range. But with Call of Dragons, they have fixed it. They implemented a very unique mechanic, which is ranged combat. This, in my opinion, made the game much more realistic and forced players to use various strategies against different unit types. So the new ranged combat system was definitely a breath of fresh air for city building strategy gamers. But besides that, they took the boring holy sites from Rise of Kingdoms and turned them into huge monsters that offered incredible fights which requires alliance activity and coordination even in the first couple of days on your Call of Dragons journey. They also introduced a brand new system that is called Seasons with Call of Dragons, and to me, anything that requires extra in-game activity is something free-to-play friendly. Because let's be honest, people who spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in the game won't be that active unless there is war. I think the same or a very similar system is in also Lord of the Rings Rise to War. I haven't played the game myself, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think season system is, since it requires more activity, is I would say a plus for free-to-play players or even low spenders. And let me know if you agree or not. And finally, my favorite thing about Call of Dragons, the graphics and the overall smoothness of the game. If you play not just Rise of Kingdoms, but any city building strategy game and Call of Dragons side by side, you will immediately feel the difference. Zoom ins and zoom outs, movement, combat, even navigating through the menu is much more smoother. And I believe because of that, the overall playability of the game is superior to similar games, which definitely helps keeping people active and engaged. But there is always a but. Rise of Kingdoms is based on real-life civilizations and real-life figures. This definitely makes the game more appealing to a wider audience. I know this firsthand since I'm from Turkey. I have many friends who started playing Rise of Kingdoms just because they saw the Ottoman civilization and Mehmed. And I think that is also the reason why Baba TC Atatürk started playing Rise of Kingdoms. If you check Rise of Kingdoms Discord or Reddit, you will see many players asking for certain civilizations. And the only reason is because they are from that nation. And that is why Rise of Kingdoms is more appealing to a wider audience. But a fantasy world with orcs, dragons, and elves, etc. is just not everyone's cup of tea. I'm a huge fan of it. For example, I think I watched Warcraft movie for at least 5 times, but my wife on the other hand hates that type of stuff. So even if Call of Dragons offers a very nice gaming experience, some people won't play the game at all just because it takes place in a fantasy world. But for now, it looks like Call of Dragons will stay with us at least for a couple of years, as new players joining every day and new projects are also starting every single day. And if you plan to give Call of Dragons a shot, I think this video is going to help you a lot. Make sure to tap on it and I see you there.